Hi, in this video I'm going to be going over some basics of the TI84 Plus. So here are some basic functions or basic things we're going to go over. Let's start off with just turning on and off your calculator. So the calculator here is already on, and to do that just press the on button. To turn it off, you're going to, right above the on there's the off button. It's the same button. To access anything that's in blue, you're going to press second and then that button. So second on would give us, would turn it off. All right, so let's turn back on. And that brings me to the same thing. Second button is how you access anything that's in blue. So for example, let's say I wanted to do the square root of a number. So I'd press second and then, oops, let's try it again. So second x squared to do the square root. All right, so let's clear that. And then anything in green, you'd press alpha. So for example, if you wanted to put in the variable t, I'd press alpha and then 4, right? That's how I get the t. Okay, so moving along, let's go to here. So if you use a TI84 for, say, calculus or statistics, you're going to go into a lot of different functions. So for example, if I want to exit out of this and get back to the home screen, which is the screen that I started with, to do that, we're going to quit out of this. In order to do that, we're going to access that quit. Again, so we're going to press second mode to quit. So let's talk a little bit about operations in the TI84. Let's go through some basic evaluating of these expressions. So for example, if we want to evaluate 15 squared, here's how we would do that. So we're going to press 15 and then we're going to square 15. So that button is right here, so x squared right there. What about this right here? So 0.173 to the 5th power. So to do that, so to do any power that's greater than 2, so raise anything greater than 2, we are going to press this caret button. So we just press that, and then we can evaluate to whatever we'd like. So in this case, we're raising to the 5th power, so we're going to press 5, and that's how we do that. And now you'll notice this funny looking expression. This is scientific or engineering notation, and what this is this e to the -4. Anytime you have that here, that's again scientific or engineering notation to tell you that this is times 10 to the -4. So in order to see what this answer looks like in decimal form, let's take a look. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to divide by 10 to the 4th power, which is equivalent to moving the decimal point 4 times to the left, right? So e to the -4 is times 10 to the -4, which means to get the decimal equivalent, we're going to move the decimal 4 times to the left, all right, and then fill it in with zeros. So this answer right here is equivalent to this answer approximately, because I'm rounding, in standard decimal notation. Okay, so let's move on. C, let's do this, evaluate this one, square root of 196. We're going to, let's see, square root sign is right above, it's in blue, right above the squaring sign, so we're going to press second, x squared 196, and then the square root of 196 is 14. And then the last one, so anytime you have a fraction and you have operations, say in the numerator or denominator, you're going to have to separate this expression with parentheses. So here's the proper way to do it. So open parentheses, 87 minus 13, and then close parentheses. And to get the fraction bar, that's just the division sign. So divided by 4.5. All right. So, which brings me to the last thing, a common mistake with fractions. So let's go back to that expression. So this same expression. So what I see with a lot of students is whenever they have an expression like this, where there's an operation in numerator or denominator, they don't separate it with parentheses. So notice how I'm doing this incorrectly. So this expression, evaluated, this is not the proper way. This is the proper way. But notice how I don't put parentheses. Let's see what we get. See how we get a different answer from the correct way to do it? The reason why is when you don't put parentheses, it's going to evaluate this division before this subtraction. So order of operations says we do division before subtraction, which is not what we want to do with this expression. With this expression, we want to evaluate the subtraction, and then whatever value we get here, we divide by 4.5. Here, if we don't put parentheses, it's going to divide this first, and then whatever value we get here, we're going to subtract it from the 87. So be very careful when you're evaluating operations involving fractions. Whenever there's an operation, either in the numerator or denominator, you always want to separate that expression with parentheses. Going back to this one, which is a proper way to do it, I did not need parentheses here and here in the denominator. It's because that's just a single value. I don't need to separate it with parentheses. All right, so hopefully you guys found that helpful.